Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. Sallallahu ala sayyidina Muhammadin wa alihi wa sahbihi wa salama tasliman. Alhamdulillahi wa kafa. Wassalamu ala ibadihi alladhina istafa and mubad. In the name of Allah, the most gracious, the most merciful, I seek refuge in Allah from the rejected shaitan. May Allah bless our master, Sayyidina Muhammad, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, his family, companions, and give them peace. All praises are due to Allah, for he is sufficient for us. Peace be upon his slaves, whom he has chosen, as to what follows. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome to the Half Your Deen Show on Nurzaman Radio. Alhamdulillah. Assalamu alaikum, Sister Sakina. Thank you for joining us this evening. Just give me a moment. I want to share this live feed. Alhamdulillah. Just give me a moment to do that. I pray that everyone had a blessed week. I know some of us had a trying week, given not even just this week, a few weeks ago in Sierra Leone, there was a massive mudslide rather, because of torrential rains, and because of it, the count was at 500 people, and a third of it was children. So please keep them in your du'as. And here it is, we see again here in the States that there was a storm, a hurricane, I believe, and called Harvey, and it dumped buco rain in Houston, Texas. So prayers go out to Texas. Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, Sister Fatima. Thank you for joining us. Alhamdulillah. Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, Habibi. Thank you for joining. Alhamdulillah. Why are you looking at me like that? My daughter looking at me like I got diseases. What? Why are you looking at me? I know what you're looking at. Anyway, prayers upon the people there. I was looking at some news reports, and it seemed like they're rather slow in the hood to save the people. And it should not be any surprise, but I hope that the people there get help or rescued. I've even seen a photo of a seniors facility where the water were up to their waist, and they're in wheelchairs, and they're just sitting there. But I did see a report saying that they were evacuated, so alhamdulillah for that. Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, Sister Anisa. Thank you for joining us on Mixler. Alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillah. Just trying to get myself together here. One moment. Yeah, so things are happening, and if we don't pay attention, we're going to miss a lot. What I mean by that is Allah just gave us an eclipse. Remember, an eclipse. And now, here it is, it's floods. You know, this is what Allah does. It's all in His power. By His permission, it happens. So we need to be on the right side of this. And what I mean by that is that we better be begging Allah for His mercy and His forgiveness, and to accept our du'as, our repentance, our tawbah. We need to really be doing that, because it's no joke. Give me one moment. This is a sign to me. You know, we, in our day and time, us regular folk, I guess you could say that, we didn't have the pleasure of seeing all these miracles of the Prophet ﷺ. You know, we don't have the prophets in our time period. right now. And so they perform miracles to get the people to get on board, to worship their Lord. And so sometimes they would, perform certain miracles by Allah's permission to turn them the right way. We don't have that. We do have that. We have the book, the Quran. That's a miracle. So there are things there, but we don't even pay attention to that. And then even back in those times, during the prophets and messengers, when they were sent, the people didn't pay them no mind either. But we need to pay attention. I don't even know what to expect next. We know we're living in the last days. It's the truth. It's a promise that will not be broken. Things is going to be happening. So we need to get on board, pay attention. Our call-in numbers is 412-567-3030. Let me put that in the comment section. I can't talk and type at the same time. I could do one thing, other things at the same time, but not typing. So yes, let's keep them in our du'as. If you're near that area or able to assist in the emergency cleanup or helping the residents to be comfortable, by all means, make yourself available to go out there if you're able to. And if you're not, if you're able to support financially, and I'm not even just talking about Houston, I'm talking about in Sierra Leone. There are hundreds of children that are orphaned because of this mudslide that occurred there in Africa. It's subhanallah. And we got the nerve to complain here about our situation. Subhanallah. Anyway, what I wanted to mention before we start our show today, it was a video I but I looked at, and that I'm borrowing at this time, and I thought it was an eye-opener to me. It wasn't a video that was just made. It was something that was recorded about 3 years ago, matter of fact, and I'm trying to pull it up. Give me one moment, see if I can find it. So make sure y'all share this page. Share this video to those you think that might benefit from it. Let's see if I can find it, because I don't want to say the wrong name. It was regarding a scientist at UC Berkeley. He did a interview on Democracy Now! And when I watched the video, rather, it just blew my mind. And it made it clarify for me, it made things clearer to me. It gave clarity to the understanding of what's happening in our current situation in our society right now. And so this man, science, I'm trying to pull up his name. Please forgive me. Give me one moment, see if I can pull it up. Okay. His name is Tyrone Hayes. He's a scientist at UC Berkeley. And he was in charge of doing research on this herbicide called atrazine. And his findings was mind-blowing. But like I said, it gave clarity to why we're in the situation that we're in. He explained that this herbicide that is sprayed on produce like corn and such, he was testing it out on amphibians, frogs to be exact. And what he found was that these frogs, the male frogs, started their reproduction system started turning into a female reproduction system. So that means they started laying eggs. Not only that, this herbicide, this chemical that they spray on our plants, made these frogs want to cohabit with other male frogs. They didn't want to cohabit with a female frog. They wanted to cohabit with another male frog. So in his findings, he came to the conclusion that this herbicide is making these animals homosexuals through the foods. So he brought this up to the attention to the powers there may be and said, hey, this is what's going on. They wanted him to shut up and not report this. He's like, this needs to be made public so that people can know this. And they said no. They tried to buy up his research so they can keep it hush-hush. They didn't stop there. It got so bad that they started threatening his family. They threatened to rape his daughter and his wife if he don't shut up. They came to his lectures, and one person came to him and whispered in his ear and threatened to kill him. But this scientist refused to shut up. And he had opportunity to be vocal in his findings when a lawsuit was filed. It wasn't his original lawsuit, but somebody else, I didn't catch it, filed a lawsuit against his company, and so he became part of it. And so he started, letting it be known what was his findings. And he had the backing of other doctors in other countries that came up with the same conclusion. And it wasn't just on animals. It was on humans too. So that's why we have this one of the reasons why we have this rampant surge of homosexuality in our communities. And I said, subhanAllah, I knew it was in the food. Assalamu alaikum, Sister Chanel. Thank you for joining us. I knew it was in the food. I knew it. They put all these chemicals in our foods, and it's doing things to us. That's why we got to go back to the basics. We got to grow our own food. You got to watch what's going in your stomachs of your children and your family. Food should not allow children, male children, develop boobies. Your food should not be allowing your girls to look like Amazons, unless that's in their DNA. But their bodies shouldn't be built a certain way, like overgrown, like that, naturally. If they're not doing anything extra, it's all in the foods. We have to be careful about these processed foods. And we have to do away with certain things in our diets. We may not like it, but it's for your own good, because we're setting ourselves up. And to go even further, from my understanding, this doctor, the scientist, said that the chemicals cause cancer, and they didn't want. They were in charge of providing medicines for it, and the medicine was jacking up the person to be even more sick. So basically, the medicine that it was used to cure the cancer, breast cancer, I think that's what he mentioned, it was blocking certain hormones in the female's body where it prevented her from getting cured. So there are cures out there, but they are putting out there what they want just to keep us sick. They're doing this on purpose. By knowing this, we have to be more vigilant about what goes in our stomach. And some of us, we worship our stomach. We don't care. As long as I get to eat, I'm going to eat whatever I want. I don't care. Even after Allah has told us in our book what to eat and what not to eat, we eat what we want to eat anyway. Yet we expect that our du'as, we expect our worship to be accepted while we're eating the haram. So just keep this in the back of your mind the next time you go to the grocery store and you pick up that processed food or that produce. You got to ask yourself, what kind of pesticides or herbicides were used on that fruits and vegetables that you're about to feed your family? Because it may well be killing them if it's not organic. And that's another side to it. The organic food is so expensive. And most people cannot afford it, especially if they have large families. So this has been in design. This is designed to kill us. Just kill us off. If you're not eating healthy, your body breaks down and you die. And that's what they want. And that's what I'm getting from this. And when I heard the scientist Tyrone Hayes, you could see the video on Democracy Now! Regarding the research on atrazine, A-T-R-A-Z-I-N-E. You can Google that up. This video was recorded about 3 years ago, like I said. And the title is it's talking about this herbicide causing homosexuality. This is one of the ways that homosexuality is creeping into our society. So, give me one moment. I'm trying to get back to the page. One moment. So let's segue to the topic at hand. The topic, I was trying to be funny, is titled, "You Don't Have to Hide from Intimacy." It's supposed to rhyme with hide, like H-I-D-E. But this is the Arabic term, hide. Hide is menstruation. Okay? So, and they're like, well, that seems like hade. What's a hade? No, the term is hide. And so, I just want to take a few moments during this hour to inform and to enlighten those that may not be privy to menstruation of a woman. We know that hide, i.e. menstruation, is what women experience. Normally it's every month for a specific amount of time. And so during that time, for a Muslim woman, this is in itself recognizing when it comes on and recognizing that it comes off is a worship. And this is not limited to Muslim women. The brothers, the husbands, they need to know this information as well about the women, because it's their job, their duty to teach the women about their deen. And so you'll find that brothers don't even know anything about this stuff. They really don't care to learn about this stuff. But they need to know, because this is connected to the women of their households' worship. So if he want to make sure that their worship is being accepted and is done correctly in the proper time, then he should make it his business to learn about this. And if he's not married, he should make his business to learn about this so that he could teach the his future spouse or daughters that he may have in his life. So I'm going to be coming from two Maliki fiqh texts called the Izziyah and Al-Aqtari. So just to let y'all know where I'm coming from with this. And so, to start off, hide, and its technical meaning for hide, is menstrual blood that comes out by itself from the genital organ of a woman who customarily has the ability to become pregnant for the maximum duration of 15 days or less. Even if she bleeds for a moment, due to reasons other than birth or sickness. So that's what menstruation is. One, it comes by itself. It has some conditions. It comes by itself. It comes out of the genital organ of a woman. We know that to be the vagina. It's from a person who customarily has the ability to become pregnant. So you gotta reach puberty, right? In order to get pregnant, right? Right. And the duration, the maximum duration of the menstrual cycle is 15 days. Even if it's for a moment. So it doesn't matter if it doesn't last all day. If you got a spot, that's considered your mens from that spot. Now, how does this relate to marriage? This is, this show is based on marriage, half your deen. It has a lot to do with it, because when a woman is on her menstruation, she cannot have intercourse with her husband at all. It's prohibited from the brother. He can't force his wife and say, I command you to have sex with me, or I'm just going to get it. He's not supposed to do that. That's a sin. Because the law tells the man to, to separate from her during that time. Separate meaning not engage in intercourse. Not stay away from her in totality. Because you got some cultures when the woman have her mens. That's another term for menstruation. They don't deal with her at all. They treat her like she got the plague. Like, I don't touch her. I don't want her cooking for me or nothing. That's somehow cultures are. That's how they treat their women. And that's oppressive. Islam doesn't oppress their women. Despite what you heard. No. He is just prohibited from having sexual relations, meaning he cannot have sex through that genital organ during that time. There's other things that happen as well when the woman has her menstruation. She cannot perform salat. Okay. So she cannot perform the salat. She cannot fast. Like Ramadan or any kind of fast, even if it's a makeup fast. She cannot fast. She cannot do tawaf around the Kaaba. Like now we're during the season of Hajj, and the Muslims are performing these rites of Hajj. A menstruating woman is not allowed to do that. She's not even allowed to touch the Quran, the Arabic, the Mus'haf, the Arabic, all Arabic Quran. She's not allowed to touch that. Or enter the masjid. Let me clarify the masjid and give y'all some proofs of this. The masjid is not when you just walk in and you're like, different masjids is set up different ways. You have, you come into the masjid and it's not the area that you pray. That's not the masjid. The musalla is the part that's concerned with that the menstruating woman should not be entering in. So if you have areas that are not designated as prayer areas, the menstruating woman that do come to the masjid is able to enter into those areas. Okay? Now, once this menstruating woman is, and I'll get to it, is finished with her mens, she has to perform ghusl before she can commence having relations with her husband, or if she's not married, to commence to make salat, fast, things like that, read the Quran. But she has to perform ghusl before she does those things. Even if it cuts off and you don't see anything else, you have to make that ghusl to go to the next step. Now, who are these women regarding to these menstruating women? Women, according to the Maliki Fit, is grouped into 3 categories. One is the beginners. I'm not going to burden y'all with the Arabic terms. I'll just keep it simple. You got the regularly menstruating women. And 2, you have the pregnant women. So yes, pregnant women do have their mens. They do have menstruation. How are these 3 categories of women determined? Now, as far as first timer, it's, you know, in that term, in that phrase rather, first time meaning you never experienced it before. So your first time could be up to 15 days. Okay? Up to 15 days is a first time woman. So if you have little girls and they're coming into puberty and they get their mens that first time, and you're Muslim, you need to count how many days that menstrual cycle lasts, because that is going to be determined as her regular cycle. So if her first time it comes on and this lasts 5 days, that's what her menstrual cycle is considered, 5 days. Okay? Anything other than that would not be considered a menstrual cycle, and I will explain that later. Then you have the regularly menstruating women. And for them, it's her normal period. So if her mens is 5 days, 7 days, and that's like that every month, that's her regular cycle. But sometimes the regularly menstruating women, her cycle isn't the same each month. It changes. So what does she do? We'll explain that later. I just want to go through what these categories of women look like. The pregnant woman. For the pregnant woman, we know pregnant women, the hamil is with child. She's about to give birth. And she may indeed, in fact, have a menstrual cycle. Not that she's having a miscarriage, it's a menstrual cycle. And her maximum is 15 days when she is over 3 months. Do you have any questions, Fatima? Because you did say you had a question.
Yeah, like after you have a baby, how long do you bleed? How long do you have until you have to pray, even if you're bleeding?
Okay, I'll get to that, mashallah. So, with the hamil, if she's less than 3 months, it's what her regular cycle would normally have been if she wasn't pregnant. If she's over 3 months, then her menstrual cycle is 15 to 20 days maximum. If she's over, and that's from 3 months to 6 months. If it's past 6 months, it's 20 days to 30 days. That's her maximum cycle. And so that is the categories of each woman when her menstrual cycle comes on. So during those times, she cannot fast, cannot pray. She cannot have sexual relations. Assalamu alaikum, Brother Abdul Majid. Thank you for joining us. Yes, this is information you can benefit. Mashallah. So these are the 3 categories of women. So I mentioned that the regularly menstruating woman, her mens may not be the same every month. It changes up. Sometimes it's 7. So they say it's regularly 7. Then the next month is 5. Then the next time is 9. What do you do? Because we know this is connected to the woman's worship. That's why it's so important that you know this information. You got to know when you can pray, when you can't pray, when you fast and not fast. Because you may be fasting and praying when you should not be or should be. Even if you see something. How do you determine that? That's why we're here this evening. So, for the regularly fasting woman, as long, according to the Maliki Fiqh, as long as her bleeding does not go past 15 days. So, if your mens is 6 days, I'm going to give you this example. And it so happened that in 1 month, her bleeding did not stop. So, day 6 come and go. Day 7 comes and she's bleeding. And like, wait a minute, I'm still bleeding, but I usually stop at 6. In the Maliki Fiqh, she's requested to add 3 days of her waiting to her cycle of 6 days. So she will wait the 7th, 8th, and 9th day. Now on the 10th day, if she still see bleeding, then that blood is not considered part of her mens. So this is given that after your 6th day, we're saying that if it was 6 days, so just think of yourself, and you know yourself better than I do. And if you had not been paying attention, this is a good time to have a calendar or use your phone and mark when your mens come on and when it goes off. Record that. And you will see the pattern of what your mens is normally, what it normally would be. So, if you notice that it goes beyond your normally given period cycle, menstrual cycle, you're going to add 3 days. You got 3 days to look out to see if it's going to cut off. Sometime it will cut off within those 3 days. Sometime it don't. You may still be bleeding after those 3 days. So, if you find yourself that after the 3 days, you are still bleeding, you disregard it, you make ghusl, and you go to pray and fast. Now, your question may be, if I'm still bleeding, am I still to have relations with my husband? Yes, you can still have relations with your husband, because at that point, it's not considered your mens. What is considered is an abnormality. There's a vein, there's an open vein that is continuously leaking blood out. And it's not have anything to do with your mens. So, You said 15 days. That's what I'm saying. If her mens is 6 days, she adds 3. So that's 9 days. That's not 15 days. You understand? The 15 days is the maximum that your mens should be. It ain't saying that everybody wait till 15 days. It's just saying that's the maximum. So just say that your mens is 12 days. Some people have crazy mens like that. Then and she's still bleeding beyond them 12 days. Then it's 13, 14, and 15. That's still 3 days. It doesn't go past 15 days. But say she bleeds 14 days regularly, which can happen. She only wait 1 day. She can't go past that 15 days. Got it? So you may not be the person that get that 3-day waiting period. You may only get 1 because it's about to go over that 15 days. So you make ghusl and you prepare yourself for prayer and fasting and what have you that you want to do. Now this is something that you would have to do for each prayer. Make sure you clean yourself and make wudu and, continue on with your ibadah. This is so important. One thing I want to point out, do not be confused about what you see. Each woman is different. Some women, when they have their mens, it looks pink. Some women, when they have their mens, it look black looking. Some mens look brown. Some look cherry red. A mens is a mens. It could be brown. It could be pink. It could be black color. If it's still showing itself with, with that, with those colors, even if it look like it's light, it's still considered your mens. What do I mean? Say it was real dark in the beginning of your mens. It was looking black. Some women, it looks black looking. And then towards the end, we're talking about the person that's 6 days. Towards the end, it started looking pinkish. Don't say to yourself, oh, it's pink. It's not black anymore. I can pray. No. If you see that, you still see that blood coming out in that color the next day, it's still your mens. So that's where that commenced that 3-day waiting period. Now, how do you know when you're done? During the time of the Prophet ﷺ, the women used to take cotton and they will insert it into their genital area and pull it out. They used to bring it to Aisha. May Allah be pleased with her. It says, is it done? And she'd be like, don't rush it. Don't rush it. So if you see something, when you insert that tissue, that's part of your mens. What should you be looking out for to know that it's going off? You're going to be looking for 2 signs. You're going to be looking for dryness, and the other one you're going to be looking for is a clear discharge. Those are the 2 indicators that your mens is off. Now, as far as the new menstruating woman, what signs do she look for? She looks for the dryness. She looks for where there's no more blood. That's for the new menstruating woman. Because that is the time that she's determining when it's her mens. You understand? Because she never had it before. So like I said, her customarily menstrual cycle is going to be whenever it stops. As long as it's not past 15 days. But she may bleed up to 15 days, and that's it. That's her regular cycle. That's what you're going to be looking for every month. But I just told you there's 2 signs. Dryness and this clear liquid. She's not going to look for the clear liquid. She's not going to wait for that to happen. But the regularly menstruating woman, she's going to look for that. So the only way that you can determine this, because it's tricky, you may be wearing a sanitary napkin and there's nothing on it. So in your head, I'm good. But you didn't insert the cotton, the tissue up there to determine that it's actually off. Because later it's going to leak out later. And you be like, wait a minute, I thought my mens was off. You should have done what the sunnah says. What the sunnah of the Sahabiyats did. Insert the tissue. When it's time, when you looking for the signs for it to be over, that's what you look for. So let's go back to the example. Example I gave is 6 days mens. So on the 6th day, you do the tissue, the cotton, and you still see a little trace. It could be yellow. That's still your mens. You can't fast. You can't pray. Don't rush it. No, you can't have relations with your husband. The next day, you're checking. Like before every prayer, you checking to see. You still see a trace of something pinkish yellowish. It's still your mens. The mens doesn't have to be blood red for it to be a mens, because each woman is different. But then one of those days, those 3 days after your mens, you see a clearing. That's your indication. You go make ghusl, and then you can go commence into, go back into worship, regular worship. Now, since this is a marriage show, and we talking about menses and what you can't do and what can you do, right? Well, let me go back, because I didn't talk about the pregnant woman. I'm sorry. What was your question?
After you have a baby.
After you have the baby.
When you bleed, how long do you have?
Okay. Now, for the pregnant woman, that bleeding that occurs when she gives birth is called nifas, or in English, lochia. And that blood exits the vulva due to giving birth, and it is no more than 60 days. So a woman that has given birth, she's have up to 60 days of bleeding after giving birth, continuously. Now, if she still bleeds past 60 days, she disregards it, go make ghusl, and commence to praying and fasting. Okay? But say her bleeding stops before 60 days. Say that you had the baby 1 hour, the next minute you bled for a little bit and it stopped. You can make ghusl and pray. But how about if the blood was to return? The condition is that 15 days have not passed from the time that the blood stopped to the time that it commenced again. Okay? If 15 days did not pass, then it's still considered nifas. So you're still counting up to that 60 days time. But if 15 days has passed, then it's considered her new mens, her first mens, since giving birth, since having that nifas. Do you understand? So what's your question again?
What's my question?
Yeah.
How long, after giving birth, how long does she have until she got to pray again?
Okay. So did that answer your question?
Yes.
Okay. So you have up to 60 days. So say, let's throw it out here, you was bleeding for 30 days, right? And then it stopped. You have to make ghusl and start praying again. But say the next day, or 2 more days, or 3 more days, or 10 more days, or 12 more days, or 14 more days, the blood come back. It's not your mens, it's still nifas. And you count up from that time up to 60 days. You don't count the period that you wasn't fasting. You count from where it stopped. So what we said, 30 days. So 30 days, and that'll be 31, 32. You count from there. And all of this is so important because it's connected with your worship. We have to pray. There's no excuse not to pray. Not even when they were in battle. They prayed. You have to pray. You have to fast. It's incumbent on the Muslims. When it comes to menstruation, it's a worship for a woman to recognize that it's on and leave off praying and fasting, and recognizing when it goes off to go back to praying and fasting. That's the worship. It's not vacation, as I see some sisters say, oh, it's nail polish week. You know, they think it's a break. You should be engrossed in dhikr. If you know Quran, recite it. You should be doing something in the meantime until your mens commence again. We don't want to miss out on the barakah of worshiping Allah, during that time he tells us to leave it alone. Yes, we're adhering to it, but we want to show how grateful we are to Allah by still remembering him. Right? So we always paying attention to our bodies. Our bodies and the celestial bodies. How? We supposed to recognize when the prayer times come in. If we didn't have Islamic Fighter and all these apps and things that we have, how we know when to pray Fajr or Subha or Dhuhr, Asr, Maghrib, Isha? We got to pay attention to those bodies as well. So the Muslim, the point I'm getting at, the Muslim is ever aware. We're not heedless. It doesn't benefit us to be heedless. It benefits us to be aware of our surroundings and what condition that we're in and what state that we're in to know what we're supposed to do. And back to our brothers, it's important that you know this information so that you can teach those sisters in your life, your wife, your daughters, or what have you. Hey, isn't your mentor on? Like, you'll know when she's supposed to be doing what she's supposed to do. If she's not praying, you won't assume, oh, she don't feel like praying, right? She's on her meds. Oh, she can't pray. Some men don't know that. They don't be trying to get involved in that stuff and that information. It's like, that's her business. No, it is your business. Because then you don't want to assume that the sister's not doing what she's supposed to do when she don't have to do it. I don't want to fast today. You don't want to fast? No, it ain't about you don't want to. I can't. What you mean you can't? My meds. What you mean your meds? What they got to do with anything? This knowledge is valuable for the brothers because they don't experience this. So, to recap what we covered, and this is not a detail. This was not covered in detail, but it's giving enough information to help implement what you've learned here so that you be safe. But before I do that, I wanted to say something else, because I did ask the question, what can I do? Like the husband, what can I do? Well, even the wife may say, well, what can I do? I'm married. You are not permitted to be intimate with your wife or with your husband. As long as y'all do not touch between the navel and the knees of the woman. She should have a covering, a izar. During the time of the Prophet ﷺ, his wife, I believe it was Aisha, may Allah be pleased with her, described that she wouldn't put a waist sheet on. And he used to fondle her. So he could fondle her anywhere except what's between the navel and the knees. So there's some type of intimacy. Right, no touching the body. You're not supposed to touch between the navel and the knees. You can touch on top of that, but not under there. No touching under there. When the woman has her meds, it doesn't stop you from touching her. It does not break your wudu. The Prophet ﷺ used to have his hair braided and combed while he was in the masjid, and his head was in one of the quarters, because they used to live right there in the masjid. Their quarters used to be right there. Like he come out the masjid, he'll be right in one of his quarters. They used to drink from each other during that time. It didn't do anything to him and his wudu. That's her situation. But if you don't know this, you would think, oh, she broke my wudu, she touched me. No, you don't have to be like that with her. So there's no need to abandon her and make her feel like, feel love. You should love her even then. The love don't stop. The intimacy don't stop. You know what to do now. So whatever y'all do, as long as it's not between the navel and the knee. Y'all all good during this time. Islam is so beautiful. And this shows how Islam doesn't oppress the women. We're not oppressed. It shows the mercy that we are shown. Allah says you in this condition, you don't have to pray and fast. Yes, I ordered you to do that, but during this time, no. And then he tell the men, no, I said that you can go to your wife however you will, but during this time, you got to leave her alone. And as simple as that. And we know during the day, during Ramadan, month of Ramadan, you abstain from food, water, and sexual relations. Among other things, you know, backbiting, things like that. But as far as the physical things, the men and the women are shown mercy again. Allah could have said, y'all can't have each other during the month of Ramadan. Nope. He said, at nighttime, after you break your fast, until you eat your suhoor to start another fast. That's the time period that you have. So Allah didn't place a big burden on us. He still showed us mercy because he know his creation better than we know ourselves. We're weak like that. So to recap, the menstruating woman, the bleeding that occurs comes out by itself. It comes out the genital organ. It comes out for a period of time, even if it's a little bit. And the maximum time is 15 days. And this is from a person that customarily would get pregnant. So they would have been reached puberty. If anybody have any comments or questions, the numbers are 412-567-3030, 412-567-3030, and I will take your call. I hope that this show was beneficial, give you a clearer understanding. My sisters, if you're not sure when your ments come on every month, like I said, have a calendar and mark the commencing of the ments and the ending of the ments every month. Do it faithfully. Because what you're going to find is a pattern of when your ments will be. If you don't know already. And then based on that, if you know, okay, my mens is this many days, but I'm noticing that I'm bleeding past that. Oh, okay, so I got 3 days to look for it to stop. And then if it's still bleeding beyond those 3 days, I know that I go ahead and make ghusl and I continue to pray and fast and what have you. Read Quran. That should be your state of mind. Regardless if it's pink, yellow, brown, black, cherry red, it's a mess. And you have to insert a tissue or some cotton material, white, so you can see. Because sometimes it be a little tinge. That's your mess. It doesn't matter how dark or anything like that. And when looking to see that it went off completely, is you looking for dryness and you're looking for that clear discharge. Those are the definite signs of your ments going off. So with that being said, I'm going to close out. I want to thank everyone for joining in and listening in, and I hope that it has been very beneficial. I'll ask you all to keep me and my family in your du'as, as I do with yours. Even though I don't know you, I pray for the Muslims. So please keep us in your du'as. I ask Allah to keep us safe, keep us alert, keep us doing what is pleasing to Him, and not to be discouraged from doing the right thing. Not being discouraged to be a Muslim, not to be discouraged from speaking the truth when it needs to be spoken. With that being said, please keep the people in Houston, Texas, in your du'as. Our brothers and sisters in Africa and Sierra Leone and other places that are experiencing mudslides and heavy torrential rains. Ask Allah to shower His mercy on us. Ameen. With that being said, Subhanaka Allahumma wa bihamdika ashhadu an la ilaha anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk. Wal asra innal insana lafi khusra illa alladhina amanu wa amilu salihati wa tawassaw bil haqqi wa tawassaw bis sabr. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.